Hey everyone! So we're going to go over standard and word form today. I know you guys have already looked over this before. You've done a couple question problems on the Google form that I sent out, so thank you for that, by the way. And on that form, there was standard, word, and expanded form. Expanded form we'll work on tomorrow. Today, we're just going to focus on standard and word. So we're going to do a brief overview of it real quick. The first, what is standard form? Standard form is when the number is written using numbers. So at the bottom, you can see the numbers that are written are in standard form. You're using the actual number. So 235.7, 5,129.04. That is exactly what standard form looks like. But written form or word form is how we write it when we're using actual words instead of the numbers. So when you do this, you're going to say the actual number exactly, and that's how you'll type it or that's how you'll write it. So, for example, 322. That is one whole number, but we wrote it out using 322. And we put a dash between 22 because those are two number words and they can be confusing when they're right next to each other. So putting the hyphen there helps the reader understand what you're saying. The same goes for 1,052 and 3/10. We did the hyphen in between 52, and then we said and 3/10. And means is what we say when there's a decimal in the number. So 1,052, and then so decimal point 3/10. All right. And then here I have just a little place value chart for you guys to remember, because knowing your place values it's super, super, super important for being able to write the word. So on the right side, you'll see that there's tenths, hundredths, and thousands. And it is important to memorize that order because when we're writing it, so on the last side, you can see we said and 3/10. That means the 3 was in the column that is to the very right of the decimal point. But if we said 3/100ths, that means it's 2 over. So that would have been decimal point 03. All right, so that's all a little bit of review for you. So we'll go over here and we're going to practice this a little bit together. So on the screen, I just have the standard form and the word form right next to each other just to help you guys visualize it a little better. The first one says 567 decimal point 36. So how would you actually write that? What is the word form for this? So we would say 567 and 36/100ths. That's how you would write, or that's how you would say the word. So that's how you write it as well. So right here, let me get my we've got 500 for our 5 over here, 67. We have and for our decimal point. Here we go. And then we said 36/100ths. So when we say the right half of the number, the partial side, that is, we say that all together. We don't say 3/10 and 6/100ths. We say 36, and then whatever number is at the very end, that is the place value that you'll say at the end. So if this number were 567, and then it was just decimal point 3, you would say 3/10. But since it ends in the hundredths column, you would say in 36/100ths. So the next one says 286.234. So how would we actually say that? What is the word form? That's 286 and 234 thousandths. So the same. So when we said 286, that's exactly what we wrote. Remember, we put a hyphen in between 86. We put hyphens in between the tens and the ones column. We have and for our decimal. And then the last, or whatever is on the right side of the number, everything that's on the right of the decimal point, we say as one big number. So 234, our 4 is in the thousands column, so we say 234 thousandths. All right, so there's one more, 1,367 and 2/10. So to the right of that, you see we put 1,000. We put a comma after 1,000 because we actually put a comma when we write it in standard form too. It helps us break up our thousands, our millions, everything like that, which I think you guys talked about last week with Mr. Drake. So 1,000, 367 and 2/10. So we'll work on this together. We've got, what is the standard form of 572 and 3/10? So I'm going to start with the very beginning. It says 500. So I know I'm going to start with a 5. 72. All right. 72. I see and. Oh, hold on. I see and, so I'm going to put a decimal point and 3/10. So this is where it's super important to remember your place value. At the bottom, I've got the chart. So we have the decimal point, and to the very right of it, it says tenths. So if we say 3/10, that means we are right here. All right. Let's try another. What is the word form of 4,768 and 14,000, or hundreds, my bad, because it's only 2 places over. So I'm going to put the text here because that way it's easier for you guys to read. So I'm going to start with the beginning. I see 4,000. Then I'll put my comma because there's a comma in the standard form. Then 700. And then I say 68. So then I'll write 68. Decimal point. So and we'll say 14 because we know we say the number all together on the right side of the decimal point. 14. It's not in the tens column, it's in the hundreds column. So we'll put 14 hundredths. And that's how you write the word form of it. All right, we'll try one more. So this one's standard form. It says 57 and 8 hundredths. So I'm going to do it exactly the same way before. I'm going to write what I see. So 57. Oh, I don't have my, there we go. 57 and decimal point. 8 hundredths. So this place value is 10. This one is hundredths. And this is where my 8 is. So that means I need a 0 in the 10th column. So that one can be a little tricky. That one will come up throughout your practice tests throughout this week. So make sure you look for that. If it says hundredths, then you have to put the 8 in that second column right here. And if there's nothing before it, then you just put a 0 in for the place value. All right. So you have another Google form to fill out today. It is the same stuff that we just did today. You're converting from standard form to word form and word form to standard form. And then tomorrow we'll work more on expanded form.